Hi there. So I wanted to do a video explaining the two prices that the Maxi tokens, the Hex stake pool tokens have, because I think it's a bit confusing for people who are in Hex, but also people who are new to Hex and Hex staking. And so this website, Look into Maxi, if you go to the backing page, you'll get to this kind of a chart. And I think this chart is quite cool because you get to see how the different length stakes perform versus one another. And you can see that this blue line is the longest stake in the Maxi tokens, 15 years. And it kind of, by the end of the 15-year period, but also even if you just look at a shorter period, like by the end of year one, it's outperforming all of the other tokens, right? And that's kind of how Hex staking works. There's a longer pays better bonus, which is kind of the biggest influencer on the yield that you get, or the APY that you get in Hex. And then there's also a bigger pays better bonus, which is smaller. But the general idea here is that the trade-off between staking short for a short period of time is that you get lower APY, but you get your kind of principal and yield back sooner. But when you stake out longer, you tap into getting a higher APY, but you have to prolong the period in which you have to wait before you get your principal and your yield back. And so that's kind of the basic idea behind Hex, and anyone who's in Hex has kind of already bought into that idea, and personally I think it's insanely awesome. The Maximus stake pool tokens add another layer on top of that, which is super key to understand, in that in the beginning, so this is kind of how stakes work in general, right? But with the Maximus tokens, when they were issued, they were all issued one for Hex. So you could put in one Hex, get one Maxi, you could put in one Hex, get one Deci, etc. The reason why two prices, this video is about why there's two prices for these tokens, and I can just flip over to this image which one of the founders of Maximus DAO, of Gold Key actually, so there's Dipcatcher and Gold Key, he mentioned on Twitter that he made this image, and I remember seeing this image when the tokens first launched. I didn't quite understand it, so I thought I would make this video explaining it. So you can kind of see this green line is what's called the treasury value, and that's the line that I was showing you before. So let's just take Maxi. I have a linear line right now, but it's curved in this screenshot because the daily payout per T-share in Hex, so far it's tended to increase slightly, and so we're just looking at kind of this first 1 year period until where my cursor is right here, where it's almost linear, but we do expect it to trend, this gradient to slightly curve upwards, just in case you're wondering. So this is based on a fixed payout per T-share, but if the payout per T-share increases over time, then this will become a curved line, and we might end up with far more at the end of the Maxi stake than 6.58 Hex per Maxi. We might end up with 10, So anyway, that's kind of also why there's a question mark here. We're not sure what the final treasury value or stake value will be, but that's the green line, right? And then what's this blue line? That's the market value. And so when after Maxi, let's take Maxi as an example, after Maxi was minted one for Hex, you now have another token, a completely different token, which in a way is a stake was started with all of the Hex that was pooled, and now that Maxi, from the start line, it's the stake has started its accruing yield, right? So every single day the yield is being added on top of that one Hex that you put in. So actually the Maxi that you have is still one Maxi, but inside the stake it's going up slowly. It's going to 1.1, it's going to 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, 1.5 Hex that's backing the stake. And so this treasury value, the backing value, it's the same. It's just the principal plus yield of the stake going up over time. And then the blue line, it's whatever the market feels like it decides, right? It's kind of like emotions. Like, how do you feel that day? You might be making progress towards your goal, but some days you feel good, some days you feel demotivated, you feel less good. And so just depending on market sentiment, the actual price of the token, it may be worth more, just randomly, just like a random fluctuation. It may be worth more than the actual stake value, right? And then on other days or other months, it might be worth less than the stake value. And so you get these fluctuations around the backing value. And the cool thing, the reason I think this image is so cool, is that we're now more than a year into all of the pooled stakes, including Maxi, which is a bit longer. And we've actually seen this exact thing play out almost to the T, which is quite remarkable because, you know, I saw this image in the first instance and I was like, okay, I mean, it could just trade at a discount. Because if you imagine all of the scenarios, right, it could just trade at 1 hex for 14 years or 14.99 years. And then right at the end, you know, it just snaps back up to there's nothing forcing the market price or the market value to follow this green line. There's nothing forcing it. And so it's just the free market participants who decide. And yeah, it's played out almost perfectly. If I show you the actual price chart in hex of Maxi, eMaxi anyway, it's almost had the exact same curve to its kind of fluctuation in the premium here and then going into the discount versus hex as this image. And so yeah, that's just a really interesting thing. You can see that it's been overpriced versus its hex stake backing value, the fair value, and then at times it's underpriced. And you can see, not just for Maxi, but you can see other tokens that the actual market price in red here, it's there's a mismatch, right? It's discounted heavily from the actual stake value, and that's kind of what we mean in the Gladiator and the Maximus stake pool community when we say things are at a premium or things are at a discount. We're talking about these two prices and there being a mismatch between them. So I hope this video is helpful, and yeah, leave a comment. Did you grab a discount on Deci? Do you think it will snap back to its backing value anytime soon? Love to hear your thoughts. All right, speak soon.